Hey everyone, I'm Jonathan Lopez, and over the years I've been working with armature tie-downs. And pretty commonly I would drill into my table. You can see holes in my table all over the place, and it wasn't until recently that I discovered, hey, I don't need to do this anymore. We can just put it onto a stand that's movable. And I'm not going to turn it on this plexiglass just because it's brand new and it makes this awful squeaking noise for whatever reason. I'm guessing it's just because it's just too new. But you can see that on the bottom here I've attached some little rings, and the nice thing is I can basically handle my character any which way and not worry about it falling over. It's nice and secure, and because it's wood I can really adapt it to pretty much anything that I want. I can put different holes different places, and it's cheap. I just added up the math to make one of these. You need $1.20 in PVC caps, which are these things here. $3.49 for the little round wooden panel, and I bought a bunch of screws for $3.29, but you only use 18 cents worth. So if you can find yourself a smaller pack, you can always do that. Or if you're like me, you buy in bulk and you just use it over the next few years. So the fact that this is under $5, let's see, it's $4.87 is what I worked it out to. So let me just show you the really basics of putting this together. Alright, so we're going to start off with this 12-inch panel. You can do any size you want. I wouldn't go any smaller just because you need a little bit of weight in order to keep your characters from tipping over if they're over a foot or so. And we're just going to get the initial drill holes for the actual tie down. I use 1/4-inch threads. This is just like your standard. Let me just see if I have one that's exposed. I start off with a standard screw, and then I apply some thermoplastic, and which you can, if you don't have thermoplastic, you just grab yourself a little nut here and just wind it all the way to the bottom, and then you just can tape it with some gaffer tape or duct tape, and that'll allow you to actually turn it by hand on the bottom. But I really recommend getting some thermoplastic. I use Instamorph. It's pretty cheap and you can reuse it. Anyways, this basically you need to have a bolt long enough to go through your piece of wood, and also have like an end to grab onto. So this is 1 inch, and then I want about a 1/4 inch sticking out and a 1/4 inch at the bottom that I can turn. Just in general, whatever your depth of your wood is, just add a 1/2 inch so that you have something to actually hold on to. But and this, when it comes down to drilling the holes, the distance just depends on how big your characters are. Just in general, my characters, their feet stand about roughly that far apart, and since I usually only tie down 1 foot, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to put it about here, and I'll explain why in a second. I'm putting this kind of towards the back is that pretty frequently, my character has a little more weight going in the front because, we have our arms out in front of us. So it just keeps it a little more balanced, and if you have a character that has a tail, or something like protruding from the back, I guess, you could always flip it around. So I'm just going to take this off now that that's done. Basically, I just used a 1/4 inch. I didn't size up or anything, and that fits perfectly. It's a soft wood, spruce or pine, whatever you get. I wouldn't waste my money on getting a really fancy one because, as you can see over here, this is pretty filthy. You can always stain it or varnish it, but really, I don't want anything, chemical around. So as you can see, there's just a little bit of fraying there. We'll use this side for the bottom. So now that we have that in there, just toss it on the ground. What we need next are the 3 PVC rings, in which these are test caps. They're 4-inch test caps that you can get at like Home Depot or any of the like home supply stores. I went to Menards, and you just need 3 of them per. You don't need any more than that, really. Actually, this isn't going to work on the table. It just rebounds a little too much. So I'm just going to set this on the ground and I'm just going to wail in it. They're not usually that difficult. I'm not sure really why those were so difficult. So I'm just going to But as you can see, it just peels right off. The reason why I use this is because plastic generally isn't going to scratch up the acrylic here as deep, at least. You know, it puts in little hairline scratches, but and additionally it has this little lip here that you're able to put a screw onto. You can always lay these out beforehand. Matter of fact, I could always do that, and then that'll avoid making it trickier. And the nice thing about this project is that it's like super, you know, forgiving. And as long as you use these smaller screws, you don't need to pre-drill the holes. It's not going to be too difficult. So I'm just going to put down 3 per. And then what I do is I leave it up some and I'll tighten it down later once I get them all in place. And I get this one lined up. So the little head of the screw is holding down on this lip. And really it's just holding in there by the pressure of this last screw that's pushing up and kind of giving it that oval distortion. Alright, so those are now all in there. When you flip it over, you're able to turn it, and it's not going to scratch up your table like crazy. Like I was talking about with the screws earlier, you can use any size tie down with wood. And the nice thing is with this is that you could put down, you know, a bunch of different holes on the same piece and work with it from there. With this, you can see that I was working with a very large tie down. This was for the Pelican, and you know, I mean, the tie down bolt is just massive. It's like a 5/8 if I remember right, and that gives you an incredibly strong tie down. So, you know, with this one little piece of wood, you can do a bunch, and it's, you know, it's really cheap. So, you know, give it a shot. See what you think of it. The only thing is that these edges are a little sharp. So what I do is I take a little piece of wood and I just go around it. And that basically takes that little edge off. Grab a little bolt. Actually, we have a character right here. So basically, you have your little tie-down bolt here. Alright. And now we have a tie-down. Works super easily. And, you know, I hope this helps you. Send any questions in the comments below, and check out more on claytips.org.